All right, this is James Pelton. Welcome everybody here today. Excited to talk through Foxify. We have quite a group of people here ready to discuss. We're going to talk about all sorts of things today, I think. We're going to talk about the crypto market, gambling, boxing. I mean, nothing is off the table here today. So welcome. What we need from you guys in the audience as we're starting, please hit the like button. That's the number one thing you can do. It doesn't cost you anything. There's really no reason not to do it. So please hit the like button. If you have questions or you have things you want us to discuss, ask those. We may or may not bring those up. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of them. So we might ignore them, but at least it'll be out there. And then we'll decide, if it's something worth talking about. So let's go ahead and start with introductions. And we've got 4 people. I'll start with myself since I'm the one talking. But my name is James Pelton. I'm a crypto YouTuber. I love DeFi. I love passive income. I love Jesus. My YouTube channel is mainly focused on passive income opportunities. I started my own business and exited it, and then just looking for passive income opportunities. And I think Foxify crypto has a lot of those opportunities. So let's go. We'll do a kind of a clockwise thing. Maybe, Danny, let's start with you, okay? The CEO of Foxify. Can you go and start by just give us a little bit of your background?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, James. So yeah, a bit of an introduction to me. So it's my fault that everybody's here, I suppose. I'm the founder of Foxify, which is it's a first of its kind peer-to-peer trading platform. It allows it allows the little guy and the big guy to be either the trader or the market maker. It's really unique. There's nothing like it in the space. And it's our second project, actually. I launched the project a week before Terra Luna, which is obviously great timing, but we did very well. Actually, we 6x. We were James's top performing project last year. Is that right, James?
That is correct. Good memory.
Yeah. So so we've got time in the space, but unfortunately, I'm not as young as I would like, and we've got plenty of business experience as well. I've worked Fortune 500s. I've worked in the startup space, but really passionate about blockchain. Really passionate about trading, actually. And yeah, Foxify is going to change the game. It's going to be huge. I don't want to get I love a sales pitch, so I won't go too hard on it today. But it's going to be a game changer. So this is a huge moment in the history of trading.
Awesome. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. Let's go over to Crypto Jamie. Jamie, can you kind of introduce yourself? Tell a little bit about your background.
Yeah, thanks very much for the introduction. First of all, it's an absolute pleasure to be here with some superstars from within the space. And it's an honor to be here with Foxify. I know I met Danny earlier this week in London. Did a tremendous job presenting his project. They come across as such great people. And it was just so refreshing within this builders market to see such positive energy. A quick introduction to myself. I'm a short form content creator who's recently come away from TikTok a little bit and is doing live streams directly on Binance. So it's a pleasure to be here. As a Northern English man, I'm so excited to meet Tyson Fury, ask a few questions and really get stuck into this.
Very good. And then Layah, how about you? Last but not least.
Great to be here. Thanks so much for having me. So I'm so excited for this stream. So my name is Layah. I'm the author of Undressing Bitcoin. I have a podcast where I speak to some of the most incredible people in the space. Robert Kiyosaki, Peter Schiff, Patrick Bet-David. I've interviewed some amazing people. And a lot of the time I'm very pro free speech, pro saying whatever you like, against censorship. I've actually just had a video taken down on YouTube, which is pretty crazy. So that's me, very pro freedom, Bitcoin, and individual rights.
Okay, very good. It's a badge of honor getting a video taken down, right?
I think so. Yeah, it's becoming a norm. I think some of the best of us have been shadow banned and a little bit cancelled here and there, but yeah, I think it is becoming a bit of an honor these days.
Awesome. So I'm the only American on here. What's up with that, Danny?
Yeah, actually, I forgot. Layah, you're British, right? So
yes, English. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all Brits and then you, James.
There you go. I feel special. I see some people in the audience saying Tyson Fury versus James Pelton would be a good fight.
I would love to see that for many reasons.
I don't know about that. Danny, we've talked about me and you fighting before. Is that still something that you're interested in doing?
Well, interestingly, so part of Tyson's team, his commercial team, which is a great group of lads, actually, they run white collar boxing events. And so I think the reason we haven't made this fight happen between me and you, James, is because we're both you know, we got a lot on our plate. Whereas if we can just get their team to set this event up, I think that's big. I think, you know, I think people will tune in to watch two middle-aged men.
I know a lot of my haters would be happy to see that. So absolutely. We got a lot of people asking when Tyson's coming. He should be here at 4:30 UTC, 10:30 CST, which is my time, but I mean, it means nothing to you guys. About 8 minutes. So stay tuned for that. Let's go to Jamie and Layah. You guys are kind of, you guys know crypto, you know Bitcoin. Maybe you can just kind of give us a flavor for where you think the markets are at. We kind of had a big crash yesterday and then maybe recovering a little bit. Where do you guys think that Bitcoin's at? Where do you think it's going?
Sure, I'll kick it off. So I think we've like, nothing's financial advice, but obviously I think we've seen the bottom of the market, in my opinion. I think we've had the worst. We saw how Bitcoin is now back up above pre-FTX prices, which is very positive. So I imagine we're just going to be moving sideways for the rest of this year, creating momentum for the halving next year for the next bull market to start. So I'm just stacking sats in the meantime. I'm more of a swing trader, not so much a day-to-day trader. So right now I'm just stacking sats and excited for the next bull market to finally come in.
I think for me, Danny, you know me, I'm very positive as a person, so this might surprise you. I'm actually not very positive around the crypto markets right now. Although, just like Layla, I am stacking as many sats as I can in the short term. I think the Silvergate saga, not financial advice, there could be a big effect on the back of it. And clearly, I urge as many people as possible to go out and do as much research around the Silvergate. I am calling it a saga because for me, it's a minefield. You really need to get a good understanding of what is going on from within that market and the ripple effects that can come on the back of it. So for me, I am bearish. I don't believe that we've seen our lowest lows this year so far, especially, but let's see what happens. Nobody's an expert. That's why this space is so beautiful.
So you think we'll see lower lows?
I personally do, yes. If what I believe is going to happen with Silvergate, I think that the market could potentially go into a little bit of a low.
That's really interesting because I can relate. By the way, I could never trade because I always have a positive bias. Yeah, so I can't live thinking that tomorrow is going to be a worse day. So it will be better tomorrow. Everything will be fine, and I would lose everything. So there's no way that I could be a trader. But I would say that one thing I've learned in this industry is that it's always moving in extremes, and probably where it was towards the end of last year was too low, it was too depressed, and probably where it was a couple of weeks ago, it was just too overexcited in such a short period of time. So I think this is just a bit of natural correction personally, but I don't understand enough about this event. I feel a little bit inadequate now, Jamie, because I haven't got my finger on the pulse like you have.
No, I think it's a fair comment to make, Danny, because for me, a lot of these, I call them environmental factors. The factors that unless you fully engulf yourself in the latest crypto news and you're fully aware of what is going on a day-to-day basis, it's actually really hard to stay on top of. So this is why you need to follow as many creators that you can on all social media platforms to stay up to date with the latest news. And that's something that I'm a big advocate of.
True. What about the FOMO? Sorry, Layah. I was going to say, maybe you could comment on this. What about the FOMO? I hear a lot of people that have got huge regret for not buying Bitcoin and ETH at the lows where it was before. So I think you see BTC below 20, and I think there is a lot of hungry money out there for that.
You know, I always say if you don't buy Bitcoin during these crashes, you deserve to buy it at these higher prices. It's just your own fault. Because, I mean, Bitcoin nearly at $70,000, back in 2021, and you see Bitcoin at 20,000, you think it's too expensive, So for me, if you didn't take that opportunity, then everybody gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve, as they say. But even now, I think it's an amazing price. Under $25,000, people were praying for these prices, just a year and a half ago. So I think it's great. Everyone gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve.
Yep. Well, and it's amazing how psychology follows the green candle where, we're not going to buy till it's way, way higher, which is actually the opposite of what you want to do. I was going to ask you, Layah, you have a Bitcoin neon sign in your background. Are you Bitcoin only, or are there altcoins that you also enjoy? Do you like crypto in general, or where are you kind of at on that?
So my biggest issue is I feel like a lot of projects pretend to be decentralized when they're not. And it's not so much that I'm a Bitcoin maxi, I'm a freedom maxi. And I don't like to see, authority in centralized control. And I tend to find that happens with many different crypto projects. So until somebody can present me with a project which is truly entirely decentralized, then I guess it's Bitcoin only for me. But again, I'm open. I'm interested in Web3. I like the idea of decentralized social media platforms, decentralized trading platforms, whatever it is. I just need proof really that it is truly decentralized.
Yeah, nope, got that. What about decentralized gambling? Danny, do you maybe want to tell us a little bit more about Foxify and just
Foxify
what
has
it is?
nothing to do with gambling. I have to be
Okay.
absolutely clear. It's
See,
a
there you
trading
go.
platform.
Good thing you clarified that.
So there we go. I'll clarify that. Absolutely, that word, gives me shivers. It's definitely. Actually, there's a bit of psychology there. So Foxify has perpetuals trading, right? Which is a bit like selling coffee at the petrol station, right? If you're going to have a trading platform, you need perps. But it has a unique options platform, which actually provides a little bit of delayed gratification, and that's really good psychologically for traders. Actually, I think anybody who's new to perps will remember that feeling when you first put the trading, you get this rush, and then watching the chart is constant dopamine, and the crash of losing or the elation of winning is really unhealthy psychologically, actually. And the option side of Foxify actually allows normal people to be a market maker if they want. So if you've only got $10, but you think there's no way Bitcoin's going up tomorrow, you can be a market maker on the opposite side of that happening, which is really healthy. You don't have to be on the trading side. I won't use the G word. And what it also does is it allows you to take an unemotional position. So quite often I think normal people who've got jobs and they're very busy, they get into perps and it's quite disruptive in their life actually, because as soon as you press trade, then you're stuck on the chart, and you do neither your life or the trading particularly well. Whereas with Foxify options, what it allows you to do is say, look, I think Bitcoin in 2 days, I think it's bullish, and you can speculate on that outcome, but the trade is very sort of final. So you can then leave it, you can relax, you don't have to watch the chart because it really depends, where is Bitcoin going to be in 2 days time. And so that's much healthier. There's been lots of studies actually. If you look at say lotteries, for instance, people say doing scratch cards is really unhealthy. It's like they say it's like the crack cocaine of lotteries, because it's instant gratification. Whereas if you buy a lottery ticket, you're speculating, you wait then a few days, and it takes that unhealthy sort of side away from it. So yeah, we're definitely anti-gambling and pro-education as a platform.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. Well, that makes it a lot easier in the US to work through things, wording it that way for sure. So awesome. No, appreciate it. And people in the comments keep saying Jamie is beautiful. And I keep reading James, but nobody said that. Everybody's talking about Jamie being beautiful. So
I think it's a little bit of an aura that I've got there, James. I don't know. It's not. It's a bit of a joke or running. They call me the king of Binance. It's banter. I'm definitely not. I tell people I'm the most handsome person on Binance. It's more a bit of a play on it to just try and get people, that are in my community to have a bit of fun, a bit of light-hearted banter,
Awesome. Love it. Let's see.
I've seen him in person. He's a good-looking chap.
Well, you're not so bad yourself, Danny. Thank you for flattering me there.
Awesome. It looks like Tyson is on his way. He's joining in a few seconds, so we'll keep a lookout for him here in just a few minutes. So, Layah, can you tell us a little bit more about your journey? How did you get into Bitcoin? How did you get into crypto? I mean, this is kind of it's not necessarily, there's not a ton of women in crypto, in Bitcoin. How did you kind of make your way here?
Yeah, sure. So I'm actually a journalist by trade. I've always been obsessed with news and politics. And essentially, I just fell into it. It's pretty that simple. I was working for a company in Malta to do news. And I said, I want to be an on-screen journalist. And they said, okay, if you want to do the news, you have to talk about crypto. So I kind of just fell down that rabbit hole and then became completely orange pilled with the whole freedom and, central banks and inflation. It kind of just went from there. I just fell in love with everything that it stood for, and it just makes absolute sense to me now.
Yeah, and once you start going down that rabbit hole, it's hard to get out, hard to go anywhere else.
you can't undo it. It's just when you see what happened over the last 3 years with all this money being printed, it's just shocking. And then also you see, what happens in Lebanon. I believe like the Lebanese pound is like has lost 99% of its value in the last year or something like that. It's just unbelievable. The same with Turkey, Venezuela. And here in the West, I don't think we're that far from it. So that's why I'm so desperately obsessed with Bitcoin and understand the need for, hard money like that.
Cool.
Awesome.
So we have Tyson in the lobby. I can see him. I don't know whether he can see and hear us. If I could get a quick thumbs up from Tyson, then I know he's ready to come on, and I can add him to the stream. We've got a thumbs up from Tyson, so the big man himself. We're going to bring him in. The North of England representing today.
Hi guys,
Tyson.
nice to meet everybody.
Tyson, nice to meet
Hi.
you. Thanks for hopping on.
Good to meet you.
How are you,
nice
buddy?
to see you guys. I'm all good, thank you. Very well, very well.
Good. We've got a local here. So Jamie, he's on the top to me. If you put your hand up, Jamie. Jamie's from Warrington.
Okay, yeah, not too far from me, about an hour away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For us Southerners, it's all the same place. So
It is the same place for us Southerners. That's very accurate.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know
for us
about that.
Americans,
Anything past Birmingham's London towards down here in the north of England.
That's right. And then you
That's
go even further, it's France. That's me done.
and then for us Americans, we don't know about any of this. We know Peaky Blinders, Birmingham. That's all. That's about all us Americans know. Well, hey
Right,
Tyson,
that's all you need to
welcome.
know.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. That's right. Well, hey, Tyson, thank you for hopping on here. We've got some questions for you. Appreciate your time and just want to pick your brain on a few things. And I'm going to kick us off here. And we're going to start with some softballs, and then we're going to work our way up to kind of some of the harder hitting questions. So you just got to be ready for that. But we'll start with some softballs. So first question is, if you could fight any heavyweight champion in history, who would you fight if you could pick anyone?
I'd fight Tyson Fury because I think I know how to beat that guy.
I thought he was unbeatable. I don't think there's anything you can do.
Well, I think I know a way how to beat him.
Okay. Who would be your number 2 after Tyson Fury?
I don't know, really. I don't like to compare myself with any other heavyweight from different eras because I just believe it's not a real thing, and everybody can only beat who's in front of them in their era at that time. So I can only beat who's around today, and going back in history is like going in the time machine and going back to the winning Powerball numbers or whatever. It's crazy.
Now, Tyson, thank you. I'd just like to ask you a quick question. First of all, as a Northern Englishman, I just want to say a massive thank you for representing. The work that you do for mental health and sport is incredible. So a big thank you for that. And I'm sure you've been asked tons of questions in the past, but I want to know one thing that you've never been asked and what you'd like to get across to us today within this audience.
Well, I've been asked everything from A to Z. And as many people know, there's no holds barred with Tyson Fury. If I've got it on my mind, I'll just say it. I'm not media trained. I'm not told what to say like a performing robot. I just say what I think, when I want, how I want, do what I want, basically. So I literally talked about everything. So if there's anything you can think of that you want to ask me, feel free.
I mean, that's a free license there, Tyson. I'm sure we'll take you up on this throughout that. So thanks very much for that answer.
So Tyson, I absolutely love everything that you do. My brother got me into wrestling, boxing, fighting, everything. So I'm fully watching it and down with all of it. But what gets me is I can't understand how you remain motivated to get in the ring and fight. It's a lot, especially to get to the level that you're at. So how do you get up every day and remain motivated, to take those hits? Because it's a lot. So what's the main motivation?
It's a very, very good question. And it's an in-depth question, actually. But I think the motivation is difficult. A lot of fighters say from the past that it's easy to get out of bed when you've got nothing in your pocket, but it's very difficult to get out of bed when you're wearing silk pajamas, driving a Rolls Royce. But I'm of the opposite mindset. I think it's easier to get out of bed driving the Rolls Royce in a silk pajamas than it would be at 5 o'clock in the morning with nothing. So I like to keep myself grounded. I have a very strict routine. The way I live my life is like a very, very regimental life. What keeps me motivated is staying fit, staying healthy, staying in shape. I've made my job my hobby. So years ago, boxing was a job to me, and I'm not a job's worth, so I didn't used to take it seriously. So it would be one of those where I just turn up, do what I had to do, win, and go home. But now I bring it home with me. Boxing is a job, but it's 365 days a year. It's always there. You can never, ever, ever walk away from it, because if you want to go out for a beer with the boys, or you want to go and eat some Chinese food, or whatever it is you want to do, you got to think, I'm going to put a lot of weight on. Am I going to be able to get up in the morning, go running, go to the gym? So I just stay motivated by just grinding daily. I'm grinding harder now than I ever was before. From the beginning to now, I'm grinding harder today than I ever did. So, and it's not about money, it's not about fame, it's not about glory. It's just being the best that I can be today. You know, there's a famous verse in the Bible. Solomon, he was the richest and cleverest person in history. And it's in the book of Ecclesiastes. And he says that the only thing in life worth doing is eating and drinking and enjoying your work. And this is coming from a man who had a net worth of $3.2 trillion in today's money, and the cleverest being to ever walk the face of the earth. So if that person says the only thing worth doing is eating and drinking and enjoying your work, then who am I to argue with that?
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess, you know, it sounds like you have to, when you love what you do, it's easy to get up every day, essentially.
Yeah, it's like I'm getting paid to do something I love. So
yeah.
It's very easy for me to keep motivated. Just keep grinding, and you got to have certain reasons. In the beginning, it was about being the best that you can be, buying a nice house, making yourself financially secure, looking after your family. But then you get to a point in life where it's about, you know what, I really enjoy what I do, and it's a bonus that I get paid for it as well. So I'm just being myself and being happy with who I am today. I take one day at a time, and I really, really enjoy my life. You know, I'm not out drinking every day. I'm not out in strip clubs. I'm not doing all these things that people will think they love to enjoy their life. Me enjoying my life is brutalizing myself twice a day, 6 days a week, or running up the side of a mountain with a pack on my back. That's me really enjoying myself. And to top it all off, if I really want to have a really good time, after the mountain run, 6-7 mile up a mountain with a pack on, I might go down and have a pint of Peroni and a breakfast. That's me living it wild these days.
Because you earned it. Because you earned it. That's amazing.
Sure.
Thank you for sharing that.
I mean, that sounds pretty wild to me, Tyson. I mean, your career has been very well documented. You've spoken about a lot of your struggles, a lot of the positive aspects of your life throughout your full career. And a big weekend results was amazing for the Fury camp. So big congratulations for that. Now, on the back of it, there's going to be a lot of younger people watching the boxing space, watching everything that the Fury camp actually go out there and do, like connections with Foxify, but especially boxing. Now, what advice would you give to a 16-year-old boxer right now? And I don't kind of just want the pretty answers. I want really nitty-gritty stuff. What advice would you give?
I give you this truth because I'm a straight shooter. I don't hide around the bush.
Love that. Let's do it.
So what advice would I give to a 16-year-old just starting off boxing?
Yeah, that's correct.
My advice would be, don't even bother. Stick in school, stay in school and get the best grades you can get and go through life that way, because the odds in becoming a boxer is easy. But the odds in becoming someone who makes a living to provide for themselves, or even better, becomes very wealthy out of it, very, very slim. There's 2 world heavyweight champions in the world as we speak today. And there's 7 billion people, more than 7 billion people. So if you had your last 50 quid, but it was a 7 billion to 1 shot, we wouldn't back it, would we?
And I mean, Tyson, you are living proof that it is possible, though. So for those that,
anything is possible. You know, with faith, anything is possible.
So, I love that. So your dedication to faith, maybe would you suggest, has really helped you with your career in terms of your boxing, the way that you see your values, your life, the way you conduct yourself on a day-to-day basis? Because I'd really like people to take something home from this as the heavyweight champion of the world, multiple times, who's been there, done it, achieved everything. What has really driven you from that 16-year-old Tyson to right now?
You know what? Very good question again. But I used to see Muhammad Ali on TV, and people would ask him that question: what would you give advice to a 16-year-old or any age? And he'd say, don't do boxing. It's a mug's job. Become a lawyer, a teacher, a doctor, a rocket scientist, whatever. And I used to think, why is he saying that? Like, why? And then I'm in that position now, and I understand why. Because it's so hard. The roads are so long. It's the longest ever days of work ever. It's like every day for 20 years. And if you say to someone at 16, for the next 20 years, you're going to do nothing but eat, sleep, train, repeat, and kill yourself. And maybe at the end of it, not even get anything out of it, that's a gamble. But I am living proof that it can be done. And I always say to people, if you listen to dream crushers and naysayers, then nobody of influence, no one of power would be in that position today if they listened to all the people who said that they couldn't do it. For sure. So my advice is, if that's what you want to do, boxing, follow your heart, follow your dreams, and never say never, because who am I, or who are you, or who is anybody to say that someone can't achieve their dreams and become champion and become worth 200 billion or whatever they want to do? You know, it's big wide world out there, and it's full of opportunity. All you got to do is get after it. And you know, I was reading some books recently, and there was a quote in one of them, and it said, a man without a target will never hit anything, will never achieve anything. But if you've got a target, no matter how far you are away from that target, as long as you have something to aim for, a goal, sooner or later you're going to hit it 9 times out of 10. But without a target or a destination point, how can we ever expect to end anywhere?
I mean, thank you so much for that in-depth answer there, Tyson. Appreciate that.
Yeah, that's what Wayne Gretzky said. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So yeah, no, really appreciate that. I was curious about, I'm a smaller guy. You're a little bit bigger than I am. I was kind of wondering, did people ever tell you, hey, no, you're not the right size for boxing? Or what are the challenges of being so much taller in particular than your opponents? And I was just kind of wondering about the dynamics of that and the challenges behind that.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I'm 6'9" tall. I'm 277 pounds, or in stones, that's like 19 and a half stone, 20 stone.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm a pretty big dude. So while I was young, I was 6'6" at like 15 years old. And then I grew an extra few inches as I got to like 21 or something like that. And all along, people would say, oh, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're too big, you're too clumsy, you're too heavy, this, that, and the other. Boxers have to be a certain stature, a certain weight, yada, yada, yada. All the cliche that people have said in time gone by. And for me, I've been like an anomaly in this game because I'm what you call a freak of nature, because I defy every law of gravity. So I'm 6'9", 277, 20 stone. And I can glide around that ring and box and slip and move for 12 rounds, not a problem. And in the past, people have not been able to do that. But it's challenging as well as being valuable to be tall. You know, when you're really tall, the little guys try and get in and get underneath you, where it's my duty as a giant to keep my arm extended and keep them back, keep them away from me. But I seem to have mastered the old boxing game. I've completed it, actually. I've been in this game for 14 years, still undefeated. And people say that this guy's shit. He can't fight. He's chinny. He's chubby. Everything you can name, I've been called. But yeah, I'm still reigning 14 years as a pro undefeated. And I've just became recently the second longest lineal champion in history. Just took out Jack Dempsey, knocked him off the number 2 spot. So yeah, not too bad for a fat kid who would never make anything of himself.
That's amazing.
Sorry, Lynn. That probably brings me on to my next question really well there, Tyson. Is there anybody, past or present, that you think you couldn't actually beat?
No, because I believe that I can beat any man born from his mother in any era, in any decade, in any century. one-on-one combat, I would beat them in a fight. I've never met anybody who can beat me yet, and I don't intend to. And you know why this is? It's not just me. I'm a mere mortal. But I have faith that says that I can't be beat. No one will ever beat me. And here's another, I know I keep quoting the Bible, but it's such a great things to be quoting. Like, faith without works is dead. Okay? So you can have the faith, all the faith in the world, but sit down on your ass at home eating potato chips and watching TV. And guess what? You're never going to achieve fuck all in your life. But if you've got faith and you've got a very, 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 very big work ethic, then guess what? You can achieve anything, because anything is possible.
And I mean, that probably links very well to the advice as well that you gave a 16-year-old. Having faith, having that clear direction and understanding of the process of needed to get to where your end goal is where it's at. And on a side note, Tyson,
faith alone won't work.
Yeah,
you can have all the faith, direction, the goal, but if you don't work your ass off to get there, it's not going to happen. Something just ain't going to fly into your arms like $1 million in a suitcase. I'll say, oh, there you go.
I mean, that would be nice. That would be nice. But I know 100%. Thank you so much for the answer. And on a side note, I can't wait to see you knock AJ out. So over to the next question.
Awesome. No, I appreciate it. I'm a big Bible fan as well. So it's cool to hear you quoting it. So much wisdom there for people to find for sure. Question I had is, so being a bigger guy, sorry to keep talking about your size, but that's questions
that's
about
what
that.
she said.
Yeah, that's there you go. But yeah, question about that. So, normally fighters are trying to keep their weight at certain places, so you can make weigh in. And how do you kind of balance that? Is that harder as a bigger guy to keep your weight where it needs to be? And how do you balance that, cutting versus you want to stay energetic for your training and things like that?
So for me, it's with me being heavyweight, so it means unlimited weight category. I don't have to cut. I don't have to focus on weight. I could be like 290. I could be 350 pounds if I wanted to. I could be 25 stone and turn up and box. So for me, all that weight cutting and all that stuff, it doesn't really exist. But I do have an optimum fight weight. So I like to try and keep around the 275 mark. I mean, in order to do that, I've got to eat sensible, and I have the world's best nutritionist, George Lockhart, and with me at all time in camp, so it's pretty easy. We've never set a target that we didn't hit, that's for sure.
So you said earlier that nobody could ever beat you, and that's so interesting, because I'm curious. Who then do you have respect for? Like, what fighter would you say you respect the most, despite nobody being able to beat you?
I respect every fighter that gets in a ring, because I know how hard it is, and every penny that a fighter earns, they deserve 10 times more, because I know how hard it is. And boxing's not a team sport. Any fight game's not a team sport. You go in one-on-one combat with another guy who's trying to smash your face in for as long as the fight will last. So there isn't enough compensation for it, type of thing. But I respect any fighter who puts on a pair of gloves, whether he's had 2 fights and lost them both, or he's 100 fights unbeaten. You got to respect all fighters, all combat sports fighters. I respect the hell out of, because it's so hard. And I know how hard it is getting punched in the face or getting dragged off the canvas, or getting knocked down and blood going sideways and teeth going other way. It's very, very difficult combat sports. So I respect them all. But yeah, but I don't look to men for inspiration. Like, men are all the same. And I know that sounds like a cliche that my wife would probably say. However, it's so true. All men are the same, give or take. Might be taller, smaller, fatter, thinner, whatever. Some might be more educated, whatever. But in the end, men are all the same. So I don't really look to men for it to be inspired.
Is there anybody outside of boxing that you find really inspirational?
Be honest with you, I always go back to the scriptures. I don't have idols. I don't have idols of men at all. Like, my idol is God. And anything that I want, I ask God for, and He's delivered every single time. Now, that might sound sound crazy to someone who doesn't believe, who's an atheist or whatever. But I'm sitting in this position today, and everything I've ever asked God for, I've been delivered 100%. Every single thing. I've not asked him for one thing that I didn't get, and that's a fact. So yeah,
why do you think that is, out of interest? Why do you think that is?
I don't know, because I think it's a lot to do with having faith and having good works and having good work ethic and stuff. But like I say, if I ask God for something, I don't just sit on my ass and wait for it to land on my palm.
Mm.
I work my ass off for it to happen. But I admire a lot of sports people. I admire a lot of clever people, and I know whatever line of work you're in, to be successful, everybody's going to work their ass off. Because if it was easy to become rich, then everybody would be rich, wouldn't they? Everyone would be successful at what they do. So if you're in an elevated position and you're balling, then credit to you, because you've worked hard when everybody else was out drinking, out partying. Like me, someone said to me, like, "Oh, you're lucky." Am I fucking lucky that I work 7 days a week, 365 days a year for 20 years? When all my friends were out getting pissed up and partying, I was jogging down the road in the rain and eating salad sandwiches. There's no luck involved. You either put your life and soul into something to be successful at it, or forget about it. That's it. That's my motto. It's like, you can't do half measures. Especially in sports or boxing or whatever it is, in any line of work, you're either all in or you're not. You're either in 100% or you're not going to make it. And that's a fact. And every deal I've ever done where I've been like 80% in, it's never worked. I'm either in or I'm not. And that's it. And if I'm not in, I walk away. And if I'm in, well, I have been guilty of jumping in the deep end every single time. And it's either sink or swim. 100%.
That's such a powerful message. I think a lot of people are afraid of hard work and taking personal responsibility. And, they just sort of have these expectations that everything's just going to come to them. But to put out that message that you actually have to work for such great success is so important. In terms of your career so far, though, who would you say was your most formidable opponent?
I would say my most formidable opponent was Deontay Wilder. I had 3 fights with that guy, and 3 times it could have been curtains for me at any single second. Because Deontay Wilder has dynamite in his fists. And if he lands on you, if it's round 1 or 12, he's going to knock you down or knock you out. And he had 44 fights unbeaten with 43 by knockout. And the guy that won the distance, he knocked him out in a rematch. So he knocked every single person out that he ever fought, apart from me. So, yeah, it was. He's definitely my most formidable opponent. And I'd back him to beat everybody in the division apart from myself. I think my sheer size and weight has a lot to do with him not being able to knock me out cold. Because say he hits a guy 6'3" and 16 stone, 225 pounds, then they're nailed to the canvas with one of them dynamite right hands. But a 6'9", 20 stone guy, 277, I think that has a lot to do with it. The size matters. And anyone who says the size doesn't matter is lying.
Thanks for sharing.
No, that's awesome. Well, hey, I have a selfish question for you. So when I knew I was talking to Tyson Fury, the number one thing I wanted to ask about was Bible stuff, but you already covered that. So I don't even need to talk about that. So I appreciate that. But I was also wondering,
questions or anything you want to ask me, fire it away.
I just appreciate what you said. I think you're totally right. Ecclesiastes, which you quoted earlier, said, whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might. And I think that's what you were just kind of spouting God's wisdom. And I think that's great. It's really powerful. That's how
right, Ecclesiastes wasn't written by George in the corner shop. It was written by the most wealthiest person and the cleverest person in the history of mankind. So you've got to take some wisdom from that book.
Yeah, amen. No, I appreciate that. It got me fired up. So I always appreciate those are good interviews when you get fired up.
Yeah.
But so I was wondering, this is maybe a question for all of you guys, but Tyson, you in particular. But one thing I've noticed as my influence has grown, even a little bit, I'm, not nearly as big as any of you, but I've noticed that the haters, the more influence you have, the more haters that you have. And, that can be kind of difficult for people if you're not used to having haters. As you start growing and you start seeing people saying, I want you to die and I hate you and you're worthless and things like that. How do you kind of work through that? And was there a journey you had to go through to learn to handle that?
Yeah, for sure. Anyone successful is going to have critics. But when it's all said and done, we won't be able to remember any of them. It's just people. I think it's just jealous people who don't have the guts to get up and do something themselves. So they like to jump on people who are trying to follow their dreams to try and put them off. Very, very hard to deal with if you're not 100% used to it. Like for me, I've had hate my whole life, from being a fat, heavyweight, young guy at 20 years old, trying to make it in the big band world of World Heavyweight Championships. It's been difficult for me the whole time. Like I say what's on my mind no matter what. I don't have the most beautiful body type in the world. So there's always been this cliche that athletes have to be ripped and they have to be great at this, that, and the other. And basically, when I come in, I throw that book straight out the window because I have an amazing dad bod. Don't forget, I have 6 kids. So, yeah, I have one of those dad figures. I've been through 6 pregnancies. So, yeah, which I'm proud of. But, I think that when you're on social media as well, it's so easy for someone on a keyboard thousands of miles away from you to type some negative stuff. And hurtful stuff as well. I've had a lot of hateful and hurtful messages over the years. But my strategy with dealing with that is I don't even look at the comments. If I'm on social media, I post something that I want to show that I'm doing in my life. I don't look at the comments below what A, B, and C said. Oh, you this, that, and the other, you're this, you're that, you're that. I don't need gratification from anybody because I know that I'm grinding. I know that I'm working my ass off to be the best I can be. So, and the respect and everything that you are craving for will eventually come if you keep grinding. For me, if I go look at the comments on my Insta or my Twitter or whatever, then there's going to be, out for every 10 positive, there'll be 2 or 3 negative.
Yeah.
Am I going to let that affect my day? If I start reading them all and thinking about it too much, then it would affect my day. It would give me mental health issues. It made me depressed and anxious. I know it would. So I'm not too keen on all this, like leaving messages, people reading every quote somebody says, because I know what effect it can have. And I believe it's just another way of bullying people. It's another cyberbullying. It's very, very rife at the moment. People writing hurtful things. It's led people to kill themselves or everything. It can lead to a lot of damage and problems for families and individuals. So it's very difficult. And for me, social media is a very, very important platform to let the world know in what you're doing, especially if you're of someone of influence or somebody who people want to know what's going on in your life or whatever training and that. But for me, I just update on training videos. I don't even go on it anymore. I've not been on social media since October 2022. There's actually a post on my Instagram, can't be doing with all this artificial world, see you in the real world. So if I know somebody and I want to have a chat to them, hey, how are you? What are you doing? Yada, yada, how's life? I'll speak to them and I'll say that to them. But for speaking to people I don't even know or taking on board somebody's opinion that I know nothing of, someone who's not paying my bills, someone who's having no positive influence on my life, I don't want that around me. So I'm actually off all social media platforms for the now.
So there you go, James. You need to quit. I need to
quit.
Pretty smart response.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that a lot. I don't know, Jamie or Layah, did you have anything you wanted to add too? Because I know we're all kind of at different stages in our influence journey.
I mean, I agree with Tyson. Just don't read the comments. Like, I don't read any comments whatsoever. I prefer to live in the real world, obviously. And I think a lot of it is jealousy. A lot of people are very afraid to put themselves in the actual ring or the metaphorical ring, so to speak. And they're jealous when they see people getting up there achieving things which they want to achieve. And I guess at the end of the day, if you believe in what you're doing and you feel good about what you've done and it feels aligned with you and your soul and everything that you believe in, then just keep doing you and don't worry because they're not paying your bills, as Tyson says.
I think that's a very good point. I think from my perspective, I'm much more lower down the journey than Layah and a lot of the guys on this call. But for me, initially, I would take everything to heart and it would really affect my mental health and the way that I would affect then the next lot of content that I say. I think don't just ignore your feelings, the way that you're feeling around any negative comments or the way that you're feeling. Talk to somebody about it. You've got family, you've got friends, you've got people around you. Make sure that you make people aware of how you're feeling, but don't take it away from the journey that you're on. Don't let 1 or 2 or 3 people's comments see that end light go away. That goal is still there. Stay tunnel vision and keep going forward on it. And that's the advice I would give on that.
Awesome. No, I love that. That's super helpful. Yeah. If you're, if you have integrity with yourself, with the Lord, with your family, then it's like these people who, you don't even know their real name. It's like, why would I let what they say affect my mood? But it's amazing. One negative comment can overshadow for me 1,000 good comments. It's that one negative, right? And start thinking, oh man, is he right? Is he right? Even though thousands of people say, good things. So appreciate that.
I think everybody's guilty of that though, aren't they? Everybody who's downloaded a social media platform app would be guilty of letting negativity spoil their day, month, year, life.
100%. I do think there's an element that you should listen to some of it though. Like for me, I always make a joke of like my wife is my biggest critic. So if I do something bad, then I want her to tell me. And if a lot of people have got the same kind of theme, then you've got to listen to it sometimes, and you might not like what people are saying, but that's the industry you put yourself in. The minute you put yourself in front of a camera or you do achieve that other people think, maybe not be able to achieve, you have to have that thick skin and that ability to just shake it off.
Yeah, it's interesting actually because our CMO she takes it a bit more personally, and I'm no heavyweight world champion, but I sort of resonate with Tyson quite a bit because nothing in my life has ever come to me easily. Right, I've always grafted. Not much of a believer in God, I'll be honest. I'm kind of just apathetic rather than a non-believer. But I've always kind of, like you say, I've always like really manifested something if I've wanted it to happen. And just try to outgraft the people around me, and that's kind of been the playbook. So when I see someone being toxic like that, I just think, what a loser! What a loser! If that's you winning in your life, then to be fair, I pity them a little bit. So I think developing a bit of thick skin is good as well.
Yeah, it's been a good experience for me for sure. Tyson, I also wanted to talk about retirement, okay? Because a lot of people, I'm in the crypto realm and passive income realm, and a lot of people, their number one goal is, oh, someday I'm going to retire and I'm going to just sit on the couch, watch Netflix all day. It's going to be amazing. That's the American dream that we have. You experienced retirement, but then you came back out of it. And I just wanted to see if you had any helpful words about what your experience, why did you come out of retirement? And just helpful words for people who that's kind of their dream. And you kind of turned away from that.
Yeah, very, very interesting subject. I've been retired before a couple of times. I think like in your life, you want to get to a certain amount of comfortable living. And you think, you know what, I can retire. I can do what I want. I can go anywhere. I can basically sit down on a beach and drink pina coladas all day in a tropical climate. But for some reason, it's not exactly what you always dreamed of. I suppose how I can liken it to is, have you ever been on an all-inclusive holiday, like a 2-week job? And for the first few days, it's like really fantastic, unbelievable. But by the time you get to like day 12, you think 10 days was enough. 10 days was enough. So it's sort of that feeling, just sitting around with no purpose, no goals in life. And it's not about the amount of money you have or what you've earned or even the success you've had in the past, because you could have millions in the bank and you could have all the success and achievements and whatever. But when you're retired, it's like it's all over. And I just felt lonely. I just felt like I didn't have a purpose anymore. And somebody with proper mental health problems like I have, then having no goals and targets is a no-no. So I made an imminent comeback. I was retired all of 6 months before I decided that living life as a retired person it's not what I thought it would be. And for the rest of my life, I'll have to work because it gives me purpose, something to get up for in the morning, something to look forward to. Because when I was a kid, I thought, like, what would I do if I had £1 million? And it was like this dream, like what I'd do. And with all my family, brothers, cousins, it would be like, what would you do if you had £1 million? And everyone said they'd buy a fast car, buy a nice house, and the money would be gone. But when you're in that position and you can basically buy what you want, go where you want, do exactly what you want to do, and literally you can do anything, the answer is you don't want anything. When you've got nothing, you want everything. And when you've got everything, you want nothing. So it's very weird. And it's very crazy what I'm saying. But when you can have everything, but you don't, you get more pleasure out of it. Has anyone here ever been on a diet? Yeah. But you know you can have a chocolate biscuit, but you choose not to. And that you get the pleasure out of that. So I know I can go and buy 10 brand new Rolls-Royce Phantoms if I want to. But I get more pleasure by not doing it than I would by doing it. Because I'm pretty weird, actually. I could go buy a Rolls-Royce today and it'd make me smile for about 5 seconds. But if I went and bought a Rolls-Royce that was 20 years old, that was tidy and clean and with low mileage, I think, wow, this is an amazing car. And it's crazy. It's crazy how it all works, because years ago, the opposite way would have been right for me. I've had the new one rather than the old one. It brought me pleasure. So you think. But I think experience is the key. You can't listen to anybody in life. And if it was possible to take advice and listen and do exactly what somebody who's been through that experience said don't do, then everybody would be, they wouldn't have no problems in their life. Everyone would just look at history. Because no matter what we're going through today, someone in history has already been through it, no matter what it is. So if we didn't want to go through, just look at history and say, you know what, that person made that mistake, I'm going to avoid it. But I believe everybody's got to make their own mistakes and learn from it. And if we don't learn from the mistake, we've got to keep making that mistake, making the mistake until eventually we think, you know what, wow, I've learned my lesson. I'm going to not go for it. I'm going to go around it. And that's what it is.
Yeah, no, love that. I think you're totally right. I think there's a lot of people probably in the audience right now who are thinking, yeah, right, money will, if I had unlimited money, I definitely would be happy. I'd want to retire. And they, even if hearing you say that, they're going to say, yeah, right, that's not true. But I'll say what you said is right from Ecclesiastes. That must be one of your favorite books, because there's nothing new under the sun.
Very interesting little story to tell you guys. For all those people who think material assets are the way forward, check this out. So I was 27 years old. I was married with kids. I had a beautiful house, beautiful cars. I had millions and millions of dollars in the bank. I had just won World Heavyweight Championships, 5 belts, beat the second longest reigning champion in history in Klitschko. I had everything that a person on this planet could have. Money, fame, achievements, family, recognition. Is there anything more like that a person could have? I had all of that. Whatever it's possible for a man to have on earth, I had it. And while I had it, there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't want to kill myself. So if you think that material assets are going to change your life and make you happy, you're in for a very, very rude awakening. Because I can stand here today as a person that's had everything in this world's had to offer and sampled everything. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and everything that goes with it, I've sampled it. I can honestly say none of it made me happy. Buying the £1 million houses, buying the £1 million cars, watches, whatever you want, whatever's possible, materially, asset is on this planet, I've sampled it. And it didn't make me happy. You know what makes people happy is they've got to come to peace with who they are inside. Basically, the happiness is within. It's not exterior. You can't find happiness from the exterior. So I've learned this the hard way, because when I had everything and I still wasn't happy and I wanted to die, I wanted to commit suicide, I even attempted suicide, for those who don't know. It was when I was at my most highest achieving time. I was at my lowest points. There wasn't one day that didn't go by that I didn't think of killing myself for a long period of time, because I was always searching for something else. No matter what I did in my life, what I achieved, world championships, becoming very wealthy, whatever, it was all, oh, that's a lot of shit. I'm looking for something else. So I was always chasing more and more and more. And again, we can never, ever be fulfilled with material assets. Nieta. Not even possible. Not possible at all. Happiness comes from within. You have to find happiness and peace with who you are and you got to find happiness in what you're doing and not what the man across the road's doing or someone on the internet. A man can be happy working at Tesco's making 250 quid a week, just as happy than a man who's making 25 million a week, because it's really unimportant. Because I know a lot of rich people. I know billionaires. I know millionaires. I don't know any trillionaires, by the way, just putting out there. And all of them that I know, all of them very rich people are the most unhappiest. The happiest friends that I have are the ones who are working hand to mouth daily. They're the happiest. They're the most content. If they upgrade their car, they upgrade a pair of shoes, whatever they do, upgrade the phone, it's like, oh my God, I'm upgrading my phone 4 weeks on Tuesday. But the billionaire guy, he goes and buys a jet and tells me it's dog shit. So I've had a lot of experience with all this. And I know that material assets and all this achieving and all that, today the world is full of Instagram, social media. Everyone's a millionaire. If you go online, you see everybody's a millionaire. Everyone's driving big flash cars. Everyone's living in hotel rooms and mansions. And in reality, that is very, very untrue, because not everybody can do that. There has to be certain types of people in the world for the world to go around. So I think there's a lot of mental health problems today because of all this. I can be a billionaire if I want to, by everybody. And it's really like, is this really achievable? Anyone can do what they want, of course, if they work hard enough, but on a big scale, not everybody in the world can be millionaires or billionaires or trillionaires. It's just not even possible. But I think today's world is like, when I was a kid, someone got a pair of new Nike Air Max trainers for 110 quid. It was like, oh my God, you got a pair of 110 trainers. Wow. Today, everyone's giving like $2,000 for like Louis Vuitton trainers and Balenciagas, whatever they are. And it's just like, this world has gone absolutely crazy for all this flash and material stuff. And I know from first experience and first-hand living that it's not going to make you happy. And happiness comes from within. So if you're listening to this and thinking, wow, that Fury is an absolute div. Like, this is what I want to do. I want to be rich. I want to be successful. And then I'm going to be happy. Think again. Because you can be as happy as I am by just having a routine and just living it and owning who you are and being at peace with who you are as a person. And there's so much power in it as well. There's so much power in not trying to keep up with the Joneses, not looking at what the next door neighbour's got and thinking, you know what, putting pressure on myself. I want that. Empowerment is being happy with who you are today and living for today, not planning for the future and thinking in 10 years' time, if but what or maybe. Because guess what? The truth of the matter is tomorrow is not promised to anybody. Today's a gift. Tomorrow's a mystery. So here we are. The Gypsy King spouting wisdom. Live and exclusive. Foxify. Come on.
Love it. No, a lot of fire there. No, I appreciate that.
Ranting.
That's awesome. No, I appreciate that. Would you agree? I've heard it said, if you're not content with what you have now, you won't be content if you get more. Would you agree with that?
100%. I've always been a chaser. Like my mate up in the top left-hand corner, I've always grafted. Before boxing, I was grafting my bollocks off to try and make money. I would take a tenner and turn it into 100 quid every single time. I'm the guy who grafts 7 days a week, all hours. There's no clock for me. Even before boxing, I was selling cars. I was a car dealer. I'd get up in the morning, 6 a.m., and I wouldn't stop till 12 at night. There would be it was success, success, success. Because I'd see someone driving a Ferrari and I wouldn't hate on them. I'd go, you know what? Congratulations. I'm going to get one of them. I want this. I want this. I want this. I was that person. I am who you are today, chasing. I was that person. But I realized that when I got to the other side and I got it all, me and Robbie Williams had this conversation, actually. We called it the Paradise Syndrome. Paradise Syndrome is when you put all your eggs in one basket and you've got that driven target, tunnel vision, pipe dream, and you follow it all the way to the end, and you finally arrive at destination point, and you think, is this what I worked hard for? Is this what I sacrificed my whole life for, and everything passed me by for this piece of shit? And it's like, and then you think, wow, this is shit. And then you start getting down, low mood. Then mental health issue becomes a massive problem. So, you can stop all that and forget the Paradise Syndrome. You can live every day and enjoy every day, enjoy today, because, the way I live today is so much different to how I was living 5 years ago. And I feel like my mental health is so much better. I don't get suicidal thoughts every day. I don't get anxious every day. And I'm just thankful for the small things that I have in my life. And I'm happy for things that you can't buy or that are not for sale. Like when my little daughter comes in here, a 2-year-old, and I say, who do you love? And she says, Dada. That's worth all the money in the world. So, yeah, I'm just so happy with who I am and where I am at the moment. And it's got nothing to do with success. I get up in the morning. This is my routine. I get up in the morning. I drop the kids off at school. I go straight to the gym. I train for an hour and a half, come back, have some lunch, do a few jobs, pay a few bills, pick the kids up from school, drop them off, go back to the gym, train hard, come back, have my tea, get my robe on, watch TV, get an early night. I'm in bed every night by 9:30. So all this like successful life, like living in the fast lane, the real hardest working people on earth, they don't live in that fast lane. They get to bed early and they rise early. And they work their arse off and sacrifice everything. Warren Buffett's one of the richest people on the earth, the most successful people in the world. And he drives miles out of his way to save cents on gas, pennies on gas. So, all you got to do is look at people who's been there before us. And so with the wealth of knowledge we have at our fingertips now, Google, online videos, it's hard not to take this in, all this knowledge that we have access to. We don't have to go to a library and study it for hours. We can watch a 40-minute video and get like 10 years of studying in 40 minutes. It's unbelievable the way we are as humans today. But sometimes we get caught up in our own little world where we think we don't get time to take on board what other very influential people are doing or what they've done in the past that's made them that successful. So, yeah, I'm taking a lot in at the moment, doing a lot of reading and stuff. And there's a lot of me time. Since I've been off social media, I have like 1 battery per day on my phone. And I have a lot more time to do me. I have a lot more time to read. I have a lot more time to spend with my kids instead of scrolling up and down and thinking about what someone's going to say to me. So there's so much empowerment in it.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That's so interesting. And I think, I'm personally really guilty of that. I have tunnel vision until I get what I want. And then you miss all the beauty that's going on in the meantime in life. So I found that really valuable. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So something really fascinating in your career, and I think a lot of people will sort of remember this as like a very iconic moment. I'm interested, how on earth were you able to get up during the knockdown on that first Wilder Fury fight in round 12? It's really unbelievable because it looked like you were out. And I was surprised because a lot of refs wouldn't allow boxers to get up and continue fighting, but obviously this one did. So what happened? How did you do that?
It was written in the stars way before I was even conceived in my mother's womb. Everything's meant to be. So, like I said before, I can only eat, train, sleep, repeat. I'm just a human person. Cut me and I will bleed. I am like everybody else. But again, he who has faith can't be defeated. If God is with me, then who can be against me? And that's the verse that I love, so much. And I take it into every single fight that God is with me. Who can be against me? Which person can ever stand up against a Gypsy King? Nobody. And that faith again, I could take the credit for that and say, you know what? Yeah, it was me. I worked on getting up, yada, yada, yada. But I'm not going to take the credit for that because I've looked at on videotape and I've studied boxing. I'm a boxing historian. I've studied it my whole life from being a little boy to being a man 34 years old. And I've never ever seen it before. I'm probably never likely to again. And that fight, the first fight with Wilder it was like a script of my life, the up and down roller coaster. And the motto in that fight was, no matter how hard life hits you and how many times you get put down, you got to keep getting up and moving forward in a positive manner and always fighting, because life is a fight, whether it's a physical, a mental, emotional life. It's a fight. Whether it's at work, at home, you're fighting in your relationship, you're fighting at work for a position, you're fighting to be counted, you're fighting to be somebody, you're fighting to be anything. Anything's a fight. And you've got to keep going and keep getting up. And with a boxer, all boxers will tell you the same thing. A lot of it's instinct. And when you get, I don't know if anyone on this conversation has ever been chinned before and you get dropped, knocked out, knocked down, knocked out. You taught all your life, it's ingrained in your mind as a human who you are, get up, get up, get up. So that was just a hell of an illustration how you keep getting up, for sure. And like I've always said, if there's ever a life left in my body and I'm able to continue, I will get up. Because when you're on the floor, there's two options you can take. You can think, right, I put on a decent show now, I've earned my money, stay down, let the count go on. Or you can bang your gloves together and think, you know what, you're fucking getting it now, son. And I choose the latter. Every single time I get up and I think, you know what, you're in trouble now. You have awakened the sleeping giant. Excuse my French on your live video.
No, that's good. I don't often hear the Bible quoted and the French all in the same sentence, so that's beautiful. I like it. One last question that I had, and then I'll throw it over to my other hosts. I was wondering about your I hear you have 6 kids, and I can hear them in the background from time to time. I'm in the same position, working from home, my kids running around. Do you have a hard time finding kind of that like personal life balance with your work life? Do you ever feel like, oh, I'm not giving my kids enough attention, or how do you kind of work through that?
Yes. It's difficult to manage both career and personal life. And for so long, I had a mask on and I wasn't me. I was playing a character at home in front of the cameras. And I played this character for so long that I got lost in translation. I didn't know what was real and what wasn't anymore. I didn't know what was an act and what was really me. So my biggest fight was getting behind the mask. And my first autobiography is called Behind the Mask. And it's such an amazing story and journey because you're always trying to be recognized, be out there, be someone who's people talk about. And that's basically how it works in sports. So you've got to be divide opinions and get people talking so people want to watch it or come and buy a ticket. That's how you become successful as a fighter. But I got actually lost in my personal life and my business life. I was a proper job's worth. I would bring my job home with me. And I couldn't tell what was job and what wasn't anymore. So it was a mission of mine to get rid of the mask and just be me. And I managed to do it. It took a long, long time to divide those two. But now I've found a happy medium where I can be at work and at home. So I don't have to be in both places at the same time. When I'm at work, I'm at work. And when I'm at home, I'm at home. But my wife always says to me, like, even when we're going on holidays, I'll take emails, I'll take calls. I don't think I have a switch off point. Like I said earlier on in this conversation, that I'm what you call a grafter, a worker. So there's always a business opportunity. I'm on it. I believe the early bird catches the worm. So if it's to be done, I'll do it, no matter what time it is, no matter where we are, what we're doing. So that's difficult as well, being a family man and a husband and fathering 6 kids. That's pretty difficult. But I seem to have managed to split up the 2 times now very, very well. And I can go to the gym, train, I can do press stuff and all that. And then while I'm at home, I can just be the father, I can just be the dad, the husband, the brother, the uncle, the cousin, that sort of thing. And I find it so much easier now. And like I say, I have so much more me time, so much more time to spend with the kids and that. And I would say I'm the most successful person on earth right now, not because of what assets that I've accumulated or how much money I've got or what achievements I've done. I'm successful because I get my kids up at 7:30 every morning, dress them, feed them for school, drop them off and pick them up. So that is a successful parent. That's a success. For me, that's success. I get to spend that time with my kids every day while I'm not in training camp. So for me, that I've made it. I've made it because I can pick them up and drop them off. So I know that there's so many parents out there who'd love to be in that position to be able to spend that time with the children, to pick them up, drop them off from school, feed them, take them out to the park, whatever. And I know I'm so lucky to be able to do that. So that's me winning. Living my normal life, taking the bins out, going to the tip, dropping the kids off at school. That sounds mundane to some people, but for me, that's a gift. That's what I really enjoy doing.
Very good, very good. Tyson, I just want to say, look, I'm going to ask you one more question and we're going to close out, but I want to say that this has been 100 times better than I could have ever imagined, to be honest. So I want to say thank you to you and everybody that's come along as well. I think one thing that's really struck me with you, actually, I'll share, because I've met you just the one time, and
Yeah.
you talk. Everybody talks about your size, and seeing you in person, it was how lean you actually look. You look. What I've said to everybody that's asked me the question, what's he like in person? I've said he looks like he could dance all night at a wedding. And that's really scary for every way. So I thought I'd just share that with you. That was my takeaway rather than your size. But I think, look, you obviously you have to have a huge amount of belief in yourself, but you're also really humble as well. And where you know, whether you believe you should or not, people will look at you for inspiration. And I think, you know, you're an example of sort of like how inner belief can achieve so much. What's the one quality, and this will be the last question we'll give you and we'll close off. What's the one quality that you think somebody needs to find within themselves if they want to find success / happiness, which is sort of one of the same?
I think the most important thing in life is 1, having faith, 2 is family, and 3 is work. And to get all that, it all comes through routine and having a goal. So no matter if it's a big goal or a small goal, short-term goals are how I live. Like, I never look past today, and I only get through today by doing short-term goals. And my short-term goals are not massive. I might want to lose a couple of pounds. I might want to wash the car down. Might want to train, do a certain amount of runs, eat a certain amount of food. That sort of short-term goals. So I think to have a happy and successful life, everybody needs to have a routine, structured routine, because without a routine, I don't think it's possible to achieve anything.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you. Look, we had a much shorter time scheduled, and you look like you've enjoyed yourself today. So
I have. I really have. I think I needed this conversation tonight. My manager told me that I was going to be on for half an hour, 25 minutes. We're now at 1 hour and 12 minutes and 33 seconds. So I feel like this is a bit of counselling for me. I swear to God, I feel like I'm happier now than I was before this call. And I really do feel like communication is the key to everything. If anybody out there who is struggling with mental health problems, then talking really does make you feel happy. Talking about anything really makes you feel better than you were before you had that conversation. So I'll just thank all 4 of you guys for taking the time, and anybody who's watching or listening. God bless everybody, and I'll see you all on the other side. Peace out. Look forward to coming back on and doing this again one day.
Brilliant. Thank you. And just a reminder why we're all here. You know, Foxify launches in June 2023. Just like Tyson, it's going to change the game, but a very different type of game in terms of trading, and make it much more enjoyable. And it's going to change what is a very tricky space. Actually, I'm sure there's some similarities in boxing, and Foxify is just going to make it a better place, just like Tyson has made boxing a much better place as well. So yeah, looking forward to the future conversations, and yeah, really appreciate you and everybody else that's taken the time to come along today.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the launch. Big shout out Foxify. I was going to say Spotify, and I was like, what? So yeah, thanks everybody. I look forward to it. All the best. Good luck. God bless. See you all on the
Thank
other
you
side.
for your words
Thank
of wisdom.
you.
Cheers,
Thank you.
guys.